Have you ever wondered what happens after we leave this physical world? Does the soul simply float upward into the heavens, or are there deeper, more complex layers waiting for us on the other side of reality? In this video, you'll be taken on a spiritual journey, a detailed map of every spiritual plane the human soul can pass through. From the earthly realm we live in, we'll dive into higher dimensions like the astral plane, etheric plane, mental plane, and the causal plane. But it doesn't stop there. We'll also explore elevated realms like Brahmaloka, the domain of enlightened beings, the Empyrean, a region of pure divine light, and even Naraka, the dark realm where souls undergo karmic purification. Rooted in the teachings of Hinduism, Buddhism, and ancient esoteric traditions, this video goes beyond mere information. It's designed to expand your awareness, reveal the soul's journey, and help you glimpse a reality far greater than what the physical senses can perceive. If you've ever felt that life holds more than meets the eye, that what we call the end might just be a gateway to something greater, stay with us until the end of this video. In just a few minutes, you'll gain a clear, profound, and inspiring overview of the vast spiritual universe that lies beyond the veil. On the earthly plane, the sacred beginning, the earthly plane. This is the realm we know most intimately. It's the domain of matter, of birth and death, of sunrises and heartbreaks, and the stage where every human experience unfolds. Governed by space, time, and the physical laws of nature, this realm often feels like the totality of existence. Yet, in nearly every spiritual tradition, it is only the beginning. It's not the final destination of the soul, but rather its starting line. A crucible where divine essence meets limitation. In Hindu philosophy, this plane is called Maya, a world of illusion. Not illusion in the sense that it's fake, but in that it distracts us from seeing the underlying reality. Brahman, the ultimate truth. The physical world seduces us with form and sensation, keeping our deeper selves asleep. The soul, or Atman, becomes entangled in karma, forgetting its divine origin. In Gnostic thought, the material world is seen more harshly, a kind of cosmic trap. It's portrayed as a prison built by a false god, the demiurge, where divine sparks, our souls, are imprisoned in flesh and suffering. Yet even within this prison lies the potential for awakening. The soul can remember what it once was, and through knowledge, gnosis, it can rise. Kabbalah presents the earth as Malchut, the lowest sephira on the tree of life. It is the kingdom, dense, dark, and farthest from the divine light. But paradoxically, it is also where the divine is hidden most powerfully. Here, in this fallen world, is where the sparks of holiness await their release. Every physical act, every choice, becomes a spiritual opportunity. The earthly plane is often messy, painful, and unpredictable, yet it's also sacred, because only from here can the soul evolve. Here we taste love, loss, anger, joy, despair, hope, and through these experiences, we are shaped. We fall, but also rise. We forget, but also remember. This world is our first temple, our first challenge, and our first key to the greater cosmos. 2. The astral plane. The mirror of the soul. Beyond the solidity of the earth lies the astral plane, a realm of shimmering symbols, emotions, and flowing energy. Unlike the rigid, rule-bound nature of the physical world, the astral realm is fluid, a place where thought shapes reality and feeling becomes form. It's the realm we touch in dreams, near-death experiences, mystical trances, or deep meditation. Here, reality loosens. Time is slippery, space bends, and the soul starts to remember that it is more than a body. In spiritual traditions across the globe, the astral plane is a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. In Theosophy, it is described as a zone of personal emotions, where the Soul, after death, confronts its unresolved desires, attachments, and fears. This is the home of astral projection, a conscious separation from the body where the traveler can explore non-physical dimensions while awake and aware. But the astral is more than just a personal dreamscape. It's also inhabited. Many believe it to be the domain of spirit guides, angels, ancestral beings, and wandering souls not yet reincarnated. Some are helpful, others confused, and a few are deceptive. Navigating this realm requires clarity, protection, and purpose. This plane acts as a mirror. What you carry within will be reflected around you. A fearful traveler may encounter chaotic or nightmarish visions. One filled with peace and intention may experience landscapes of radiant beauty. Lucid dreamers and shamans have long used the astral as a place of healing, communication, and exploration. Its landscapes are symbolic, and nothing appears here without meaning. In Tibetan Buddhism, the bardo, the intermediate state between death and rebirth, shares many characteristics with the astral. It is a place where karmic illusions take form, testing and guiding the soul toward its next incarnation or liberation. To many mystics, crossing into the astral is the first true awakening, the first direct encounter with the unseen worlds. It teaches that reality is more than physical, that consciousness travels, and that the soul holds a depth far beyond waking life. The astral plane is not just out there, it lives within us. Every dream, every inner vision, every moment of deep emotional truth whispers from this realm. It is where the soul starts to fly and where the spiritual journey begins in earnest. 3. The etheric realm. The blueprint of life, just beyond the physical world, almost touching it, lies the etheric realm, a subtle, luminous dimension that acts as the energetic double of the material plane. It's not as far removed as the astral. In fact, it overlaps with the earthly plane, forming a bridge between matter and spirit. If the physical body is the shell, the etheric body is the spark that animates it. This realm is often described as the field of life force, the dimension where prana, chi, or vital energy flows. In Eastern traditions, it's the layer where acupuncture meridians, chakras, and energy channels exist. While invisible to the eye, many sensitives, healers, and mystics claim to perceive it as a world of glowing currents, pulsing colors, and vibrating forms. Here, thought leaves trails, emotions have texture, and energy becomes tangible. In theosophy, the etheric is the lowest subplane of the physical world, but it behaves unlike physical matter. Structures seem more like impressions than solid forms. Buildings shimmer, trees hum with subtle frequency, and bodies are surrounded by radiant fields of color. These auras are constantly shifting based on health, emotion, and spiritual alignment. Healers who work with Reiki, bioenergy, or vibrational medicine often access this plane, sometimes knowingly, often intuitively. They feel the disruptions in energy patterns before illness appears in the body. In the etheric realm, prevention precedes manifestation. Imbalance here can later show up as physical symptoms if left unaddressed. Some traditions say this realm holds the blueprint of the body, a kind of spiritual architecture that shapes how physical form unfolds. This idea mirrors what mystics call the morphic field or subtle body template. It's not quite matter and not quite spirit, but a state in between. A place where you're still you, but more fluid, light-filled, and connected. The etheric plane reminds us that energy is the foundation of reality. Before we are sick or well, joyful or afraid, peaceful or tense, there is an energetic vibration that underlies it all. To learn this realm is to learn the language of life itself. In the etheric, the soul begins to grasp that the body is not a prison, but a tuning fork, a vessel of vibration, built to channel divine light. And it is here that our journey into the deeper mysteries truly accelerates. 4. The mental plane, where thought becomes. Form. The mental plane is the realm of pure thought, consciousness unbound by matter, emotion, or physical limitation. Here, the soul begins to remember its power as a creator. It is no longer reacting to the world, it is shaping it. Every idea, every concept, every vision has a life of its own in this dimension. This is not metaphorical. In the mental realm, thoughts are real things, structures, symbols, energies that ripple through the universe and affect all lower planes. The mental plane is often divided into two distinct levels. The lower mental plane is tied to personal thought, logic, reasoning, memory, creativity, and problem solving. It's where our minds operate in everyday life. But here, these thoughts exist in their raw, energetic form. Think of it as a realm where every thought you've ever had still echoes, waiting to be understood or transformed. The higher mental plane, by contrast, is far more abstract and transcendent. It connects the soul to universal truths, spiritual archetypes, and collective wisdom. This is the realm of the Akashic records, as described in theosophy and various mystical traditions, a vast, subtle library that holds the blueprint of every soul's journey across every lifetime. In this place, knowledge is not read, it's directly experienced. Communication on the mental plane is telepathic. There are no languages, no need for words. Ideas are transmitted as pure essence, images, sensations, symbols, and entire understandings, shared in an instant. This is why many spiritual visions are so hard to describe. They come from realms where words are too small to hold what was felt. In Hermeticism and esoteric teachings, the mental plane is where the magician or mystic begins. To consciously create, not manipulate but align. By tuning into divine patterns, the soul learns to channel intention with precision, shaping energy across the etheric and physical layers below. This is the domain of mental alchemy. Here, doubt can be transmuted into vision, confusion into clarity. The soul begins to shed its last heavy layers and prepare for true spiritual insight. The ego loosens, the deeper self begins to shine, and the blueprint for a more awakened life starts to crystallize. To touch the mental plane is to realize everything begins in thought, and thought, when aligned with spirit, can reshape reality itself. 5. The causal plane. The soul's blueprint and the roots of destiny. The causal plane is the realm of origins, not the origin of matter, but of meaning. It is here that the soul's greater pattern is stored, its karma, its purpose, and the unseen reasons behind every significant event in our lives. This is not a plane of randomness or personal whims. It is the field of intention, the silent generator from which all lower dimensions take their cue. The name causal comes from the idea that true causes begin here. Unlike in the physical realm, where actions seem to cause other actions, the causal plane deals in spiritual cause and effect, a higher kind of karma that shapes entire lifetimes, relationships, and evolutionary challenges. What happens to us on Earth, what we attract in the astral, what we create on the mental plane, all of it originates here as part of a larger, intelligent unfolding. In Hindu and Buddhist philosophy, this dimension corresponds to the Karana, Sharira, or causal body, the deepest layer of the self that carries impressions from many lives. It's not made of thoughts or emotions, but of pure awareness and spiritual memory. In this realm, the soul doesn't think, it knows. It doesn't feel in the human sense, it simply is. Time in the causal plane does not move linearly. Instead, all moments exist as part of a soul thread, each event woven with meaning, none of them accidental. The soul, from this vantage point, sees the entirety of its journey like a map, past lives, present incarnation, and possible futures. Here, decisions are made before birth. Who you will meet, what challenges you will face, what gifts you must awaken. In Theosophy, this is the seat of the higher self, the divine aspect of you that is beyond personality, gender, or identity. It is your soul's quiet guide, always present, even if unheard. When people speak of following their inner calling or soul purpose, they are hearing echoes from this level. To glimpse the causal plane is to step outside the noise of life and witness the elegance of its structure. Every joy, every wound, every detour makes sense here. There are no mistakes, only experiences your soul needed in order to grow. This is where you realize you are not a victim of fate. You are. Its author and the pen was always in your hand. 6. The Empyrean, the realm beyond all realms. The Empyrean is not simply the highest heaven, it is the transcendence of all realms. Where the astral is fluid, the etheric is vital, the mental is luminous, and the causal is purposeful, the Empyrean is pure presence. It is not made of energy or form, but of something even more fundamental: divine light, absolute stillness, and infinite love. The word Empyrean comes from ancient Greek and Latin traditions, meaning in or of the fire. But this is no earthly fire, it is the fire of consciousness itself, the creative essence from which all other planes emerge and into which they ultimately dissolve. In medieval cosmology, the Empyrean was believed to lie beyond the fixed stars, the outermost sphere, in the geocentric universe where God resided in eternal glory. In Christian mysticism, the Empyrean is the abode of the divine. It is referenced in Dante's Divine Comedy as the final destination of the soul, a realm so bright, so total, that even the imagination falters in trying to describe it. There are no forms, no colors, no sounds, only a sense of being completely known and completely loved, without separation, without fear. Unlike other realms, the Empyrean is not a place one enters in a traditional sense. Instead, it is a state of total union, where the soul merges with the source. There is no more striving, no more seeking. The journey has ended, and the traveler has become the destination. It is the eternal now, the unmanifested origin, the still point in the turning world. Many esoteric schools describe this realm as the crown of the spiritual tree, or the unified field of all creation. It is the birthplace of divine archetypes, the root of sacred geometry, the womb of cosmic consciousness. Mystics who have briefly touched this state often return transformed, speechless, humbled, and profoundly changed. In the Empyrean, truth is not discovered, it simply is. Love is not given, it simply radiates. There are no opposites, no duality, no struggle. Only an overwhelming sense of unity so complete that the individual self dissolves like mist in morning sun. To reach the Empyrean is to awaken from the dream of separation and remember that you were never apart from the divine at all. 7. Brahmaloka, the realm of eternal wisdom and bliss. Brahmaloka is the crown jewel of Hindu cosmology, a realm of radiant peace, perfect knowledge, and unshakable harmony. It is said to be the celestial abode of Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, and Saraswati, goddess of wisdom, music, and learning. But Brahmaloka is not just a place. It is a state of supreme consciousness, one where the soul is no longer bound by karma, rebirth, or illusion. Unlike the lower worlds where duality dominates, pleasure and pain, gain and loss, life and death, Brahmaloka is a realm beyond opposites. Here the soul lives in direct harmony with the universal truth, fully awakened to its divine nature. There is no confusion, no forgetting, no separation. The soul is not struggling to evolve. It has already evolved and now dwells in peaceful, radiant awareness. In the Vedas and Upanishads, Brahmaloka is described as a subtle, luminous dimension that cannot be seen with physical eyes, only perceived by the inner self through deep meditation, purity of heart, or divine grace. Those who reach this realm have often spent many lifetimes cultivating wisdom, compassion, and inner stillness. It is said that only souls who have transcended lower desires and ego-driven behavior can dwell here. But Brahmaloka is not yet final union. It is in many ways the waiting room before moksha, liberation. Souls who reside here are not reincarnated into suffering, but continue their evolution in bliss, surrounded by sages, devas, and enlightened beings. In this celestial realm, one lives in the presence of the sacred, learning from it, merging with it, and preparing to become it. Some yogic traditions describe Brahmaloka as the highest vibration of the form worlds, the last stop before the soul dissolves into Brahman, the infinite, unchanging, formless absolute. It is the realm where Sat, truth, Chit, consciousness, and Ananda, bliss, are experienced in totality without distortion. To reach Brahmaloka is to dwell in serenity so complete, so luminous, that all questions vanish. Not because they are answered, but because in this realm the soul remembers there was never anything missing. It is not just a reward. It is a reflection of who you have become. Undi 8. Naraka, the realm of purification and karmic justice. Naraka is the shadow side of the soul's journey, the realm of purification where the consequences of one's darkest actions must be confronted, understood, and eventually transcended. Often described as the hell realms in Hindu and Buddhist cosmologies, Naraka is not a place of eternal damnation or divine wrath. It is a realm of divine justice, not punishment for its own sake, but a sacred mechanism for spiritual correction. In Hindu texts like the Garuda Purana, Naraka is ruled by Yama, the god of death and the cosmic judge of souls. Upon dying, the soul is brought before Yama and shown the deeds of its life, not just its actions, but the intentions and emotions behind them. If the soul has accumulated negative karma, acts of violence, cruelty, deceit, or betrayal, it is sent to Naraka to undergo experiential purification. But Naraka is not one realm, it is many, often described as layered or divided into distinct zones, each tailored to specific karmic imbalances. There are said to be 21 levels in Hinduism, each with its own name, environment, and spiritual lesson. In Buddhism, these are known as the 8 hot Narakas and 8 cold Narakas, with extreme climates that mirror the suffering caused in life. Unlike the eternal hells of some Western traditions, Naraka is temporary. A soul remains only as long as needed to burn away the effects of its actions. Once the karmic weight is lifted, the soul ascends again, often humbled, wiser, and more aware of the consequences of misaligned choices. Some mystics describe Naraka not just as an afterlife location, but as a state of consciousness, a realm the soul can dip into even during a physical lifetime. Moments of despair, deep guilt, or self-inflicted suffering can be echoes of this realm, offering us the chance to heal without having to physically go there. Naraka is not the opposite of heaven. It is part of the same system of soul evolution. Just as fire purifies gold, the pain of Naraka purifies the soul, making it ready once more for the journey back to light. It reminds us that every action matters, that justice is built into the fabric of the universe, and that even in the darkest realms the soul is never abandoned, it is always being guided back home. Thank you for watching. If this video opened your mind or helped you see reality in a new light, don't forget to like and subscribe to Top Hidden Knowledge so you never miss our next deep dive into mystery, perception, and the hidden workings of our universe. And if you have time, explore more videos on our channel. We're just getting started. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and never stop questioning the world around you.